If you're within a few years of retirement, here's something your super fund probably hasn't spelled out. The day you stop working, your super does not automatically move into the tax-free retirement setting. You have to do that yourself, and most people simply never do. There are 3 moves to make before you finish work, and none of them take long. Around 700,000 Australians leave their super sitting in accumulation after retiring, which the Super Members Council says costs them about $650 each in avoidable tax every single year. We'll check your phase, compare your real fees, and consolidate any duplicate accounts. That figure again, about $650 a year in avoidable tax per retiree, according to the Super Members Council in 2024. It sounds small, but here's the part nobody tells you. That's just the tax leak, and it sits on top of fees that quietly compound on your whole balance for years. 3 moves. Check your super phase, compare your true fees, and consolidate duplicate accounts. Each one is free and takes under 20 minutes. The first quiet drain is staying in the wrong super phase. Once you're eligible to move from accumulation into retirement income mode, the system can keep taxing your earnings inside accumulation instead of the more tax-effective retirement structure. The ATO is clear that this shift usually requires you to actively open the right account. It doesn't happen by default just because you've retired. Here's why the phase matters so much. In accumulation, earnings on your balance can be taxed at up to 15%, but in a retirement income account, those earnings are taxed at 0%. That single difference is what the Super Members Council estimates cost-affected retirees around $650 a year, money that should have been compounding for you instead of going to tax. The second layer is fees that keep compounding even while tax is eroding the balance. ASFA notes that administration fees, investment fees, and transaction costs are often deducted directly from your returns and hidden inside the product. Rather than shown as one clear headline number you can easily see on your statement. And that cost of doing nothing is personal and time sensitive. ASFA says the average combined administration and investment cost across Australian super is around 1.3% of assets, while much of the market sits below 1% and some small retail products run at a 2.5% or more. Every year you stay put, that percentage takes a bite out of a balance that's already leaking tax. Here's the belief that stops people acting. Once I retire, my super automatically moves into the best tax setup. The fact is, retirement phase treatment usually requires you to actively move or open the right account. And if you don't, the Super Members Council says it costs affected retirees about $650 a year each. So picture both costs together. About $650 a year in avoidable tax from the Super Members Council, plus a fee drag of around 1.3% on a typical balance from ASFA. On a $410,000 balance, that's roughly $5,000 a year before you even count the returns you've lost on the money. Let me show you what this looks like for a real person. Meet Karen. She's 62, a registered nurse earning $82,000 a year with $410,000 sitting in an industry super fund. She's still in an accumulation account and about 5 years from full retirement. Here's what she found when she actually looked. Discovery 1, about $650 a year. That's what keeping her super in accumulation instead of switching to retirement income mode could cost Karen in avoidable tax once she retires, according to the Super Members Council figure cited in 2024. She'd assumed the fund would handle it. It doesn't. Discovery 2 came from a different source. Her fees. ASFA puts the average all-in cost of Australian super at around 1.3% of assets, and Karen's fund sits near that average, well above the below 1% options much of the market already offers. On her balance, that gap matters every year. Discovery 3 was the most unexpected. Even though her fund advertised low admin fees, ASFA's research shows the total can still include investment fees and transaction costs deducted straight from returns, and in some small retail products, all-in costs reach 2.5% or more. None of it showed up clearly in her transaction list. Add it all up across her 5-year transition window, and Karen's looking at roughly $5,000 to $10,000 or more based on $650 a year of avoidable tax from the Super Members Council, plus a 1.3% fee drag from ASFA on her $410,000 balance, and that's before counting the investment returns she'd have earned on the money she lost. So could this be you? 3 signs you've retired or cut back your hours but never opened a retirement income account. You don't know your fund's total fee, only the admin number you can see, or you haven't checked whether you've got old duplicate super accounts. If any of those ring true, the next 3 moves are for you. 3 moves. Let's do them. They're free and you can finish all 3 this week. Move 1. Check your super phase. Log into your fund and find your current account type and how its earnings are taxed. Confirm whether you've met a condition of release and whether a retirement income account is available to you. Then compare the tax in your current account against retirement phase. The ATO's Retirement Planning Guidance walks you through eligibility. Here's how in 3 steps. Log in and find your account type and tax treatment. Confirm a condition of release and whether a pension account is available. Then compare the tax on earnings between accumulation and retirement phase. What good looks like. You're in the most tax-effective structure available for your situation. Move 2. Compare your true fees. Open the ATO's Your Super comparison tool and search your fund. Then check fees and net returns side by side. Crucially, match those numbers against your product disclosure statement so you capture investment fees and indirect costs. The total fee drag, not just the admin fee. 3 steps. Open the Your Super tool and search your fund. Check fees, net returns, and the My Super options side by side. Then match those against your PDS for the hidden costs. What good looks like. Fees at or below the low-cost end of the market, well under the 1.3% average and nowhere near 2.5%. Move 3. Consolidate duplicate accounts. Log into MyGov. Open ATO online services and you'll see every super account linked to your tax file number. Roll together any unwanted duplicates so you stop paying multiple sets of fees and insurance premiums. But always check the insurance consequences before you close anything. This is general information, not personal advice. 3 steps. Log into MyGov and open ATO online services. Find all super accounts linked to your TFN. Then roll together duplicates after checking your insurance. What good looks like? 1 active account with 1 set of fees, not several quietly eroding your balance. Why now? The timeline tells the story. In 2021, the ATO launched its Your Super comparison tool, giving members a public benchmark for fees and performance for the first time. By 2024, Australian Super and the wider industry were reframing retirement as an income strategy problem, not just an accumulation one. And in 2026, the cost of staying in the wrong structure still compounds through tax, leakage, and fees. So every year you delay keeps costing you. Once you've acted, here's how to confirm it worked. You should see a retirement income account with 0 tax on its earnings. Confirm your total fee now shows at or below the low-cost end of the market. And if your tax file number now lists a single account, your duplicates are gone. Every figure here comes from the Super Members Council, ASFA, the ATO, and Australian Super. All the links are in the description below so you can check them yourself. So now you know how to move your super into tax-free retirement phase, cut your real fees, and consolidate accounts. Next, we're looking at the super insurance you might be paying for and could never actually claim on. If this saved you money or made you go check your super tonight, subscribe. It's the one thing that helps us keep reading the fine print so you don't have to.